Hi everybody, I'm Katrina Rasbold, the Gringa Bruja, and today we're going to talk about one of my favorite subjects that I'm starting to learn is one of your favorite subjects as well, based on the number of comments and emails I get on this, and that's reading candle burns. And a lot of people seem very interested in divinating the outcome of their magical work based on what the candle did and how it burned, which is a very secondary kind of way to decide and determine the effectiveness of your magic. It's an immediate one. You can look at it and see right away how that burn turned out and possibly predict how that magic is going to go. Your ultimate um, indicator of how your magic went are results. And the trick about that, and I really want to bring this home to you guys, is that it takes time. We can do things to amplify the magic and make it happen faster and make it happen harder and hit harder. But the thing is that magic takes time. And when we're talking about working in a magical realm or magical way, we're talking about engaging energies within ourselves and within the universe and within deity, depending on how you interpret deity, that predate time. I mean, time is a man-made concept, a human concept. We needed to be able to track the passage of time. But in the concept of the universe and in the concepts of magic, time is irrelevant. So there isn't really a consideration of 3 days, 10 days, 12 days, whatever it might be. It's just that we put the energy out there and it happens when it happens. So getting all caught up and nutted up about how long is this going to take, it's natural. We want to know. But at the same time, it's not all that predictable. And anybody who'll tell you that it is, I would say isn't that reliable of a resource. Now I'm going to put on my glasses here. It's going to blind you because it's got this terrible glare, but I'm an old lady and that's the only way I can see what we're going to be talking about. So in terms of time, yes, read your candles. That'll tell you how clean the burn was, how hard it hit, anything you might need to change up. So I'm not discrediting the idea of reading candles. I'm just saying that's not your only indicator of how that magic is going to flow, and certainly not of the time involved. So it's really almost kind of amateurish to have to invest time into what you're doing. We all want it to happen fast. There's nobody who does magic and says, gosh, I hope this takes a year or two to finalize because, I've got all the time in the world. When you ask for something magically, you want it to happen. You want it to happen now. You want it to happen fast. That's why you're making that change. That's why you're shifting your world magically, is because you want it now. And we are a want it now kind of society. But magic doesn't work that way. It just doesn't. And so when we're looking at things like novenas, where we're saying you have to invest in this for 9 days, or we're saying in hoodoo, this is a 3-day spell, or we do this 3 times, those numbers are for our benefit and for the magical integrity of the number itself. It's not necessarily about how soon the magic will work. We sometimes will lay it out, should be within 12, 24 hours based on this burn, but it can't be guaranteed. So I just want to get that time thing out there because that's one of the most common things I'm asked is, when will this happen? When can I guarantee that this is going to happen? Well, you can't. You just got to play it out. You put the energy out there, then you sit down and then you shut up and then you let that magic do its thing. You don't worry it to death. I think of magic like I think of a seed. When you plant a seed, you wait. You don't go out and dig that sucker up and see if it's growing, see how it's doing. Does it have any new sprouts? You're going to kill it that way. You got to put it down and you got to wait. And that's the same thing with your magic. You put it in there, you make your will known. You can fortify it from time to time, just like you can put fertilizer on that seed and water on that seed and make sure that seed's got good sun. You can take care of that spell and do things to make it grow, but you're not going to go keep digging it up and checking on it. So let's move on to the candle burns. Now I've got several different glasses here. Almost all of these candles that we're talking about have the same composition in terms of the type of wax that's used for them. They were burned in the same way, and they're pre-treated or fixed in the same way with herbs, oils, and a little bit of glitter, because I'll do a whole other video on that sometime about the use of glitter, but it's a historical and a traditional way of treating the candle. So we're going to look into some of these candles and look at the different burns. Now, I have some clients that will bring me back their candle jars when they're done with them after I've fixed the candle and sold the candle to them and given them the energy. They'll bring the candles back for me to dispose of, and with their permission, I use these candles to illustrate the different types of burns to you. So let's start off with, let's do this one. Now, this right here, this is a bewitching candle. And this candle is used for compelling. It can be used to glamour if somebody is wanting to appear particularly attractive or just kind of up their game a little bit. Now, I'm showing you this to show you this. Now, look at the way this candle goes. We got a little bit of yellow. We can tell this is a yellow candle that was burned. Yellow is good for warmth and joy and happiness. So it's a good bewitching color, as would be red. You can also always use white. But we've got a little bit of wax left in the bottom here. And we've got, let's see, there's not a whole lot of residue inside. There a little bit, not much. This was treated with some rose and other flower herb. And I think we used come to me oil on this. But as you go up, you can see that we've got a pretty good clean burn here. There's a little bit of white soot in there. We've got some black up here at the top. I don't know if you can see that a little bit right there. That's a little bit of resistance. Most commonly on a bewitching candle or a come to me candle or a any kind of candle that involves any self-esteem on the user's part, you'll get a little bit of resistance because that's inside them. They start to feel like they're not worthy to have what they're drawing toward them, and that resistance comes out in the candle. But you can see we don't have very much. But we do have white soot going down here. What's nice about the white soot all the way down especially is that white soot is divine assistance. That means that you've got angelic or deity assistance coming through with you on this. That's really good. But yeah, this is a nice clean burn. So if somebody brought this to me and said, how'd I do? I would say you did really, really well. Got a little bit left here. Now, a lot of times if your candle doesn't complete burning, and this one did go all the way down to the bottom of the wick. So we would call it a clean burn. But a lot of times, if you've got a little bit of wax left, it just means there's a little bit more work that you need to do on your end without the candle. So probably in this case, a little bit of self-esteem work. So that's nice clean burn on Bewitching Candle. The next one we're going to look at, this is a Hand of Glory candle. Now I love the Hand of Glory candles and I use them quite a bit. What's nice about the Hand of Glory candles is that you can write something with a Sharpie on each of these 5 fingers and actually direct the candle to 5 different purposes. And I always use a red for the candle for the Hand of Glory because you want that energy, that huge burst of red energy in there to make that happen. Again, a pretty clean burn in there. We've got some herb residue left down in there, a little bit of wax, but overall, yeah, it's pretty clean. You can't see it very well because the label on this one goes all the way around. But this white residue up here at the top, a little bit sticky. This is not soot. This is a residue of wax inside there and a little bit of glitter. And this tells us that some of these goals are going to be reached better than others. And you'll just know from the outcome which ones of those were. And again, we got a little bit of wax down at the bottom, which is typical for this type of wax that we're using. So again, all in all, pretty clean burn. The next one we have is a Clio May candle. That's the Clio May. And the labels of candles often, you'll notice with these and other ones that you purchase, if they're not the silk screen candles like you can get in the Botanicas, if they are the stick-on labels, a lot of times the heat from the candle will cause the label to wrinkle, and that's perfectly normal. This is another really clean burn. Look down in there. You can see goes all the way down. This is soot, not wax, so we've got some divine intervention. Clio May candles and oils support female empowerment. They're really good for female protection, also female prosperity. Clio May products were originally a hoodoo product that were used for prostitutes in the 1800s and early 1900s. And what this did is kept these ladies safe in their line of work. And so that energy conveys over to all women, not just prostitutes now. And I have a lot of ladies that come in to the store when I had the store. Now they'll mail order the Clio May candles just for protection if they're feeling vulnerable or for a little bit of female prosperity as well. So this particular Clio May has got, let me show you, it's got a good bit of dark up here. So it's very possible that something was aggravating the woman that burned this, and it was a female that used this. I also have people that will burn these on behalf of a female that they know or that they feel is endangered. And if you're in a situation like you feel like your sister is being maltreated or something like that, the Clio May is a really good one to go. But this particular one was the lady burned for herself. So yeah, there's a good bit of black soot up there around the top, but we're burning clean further down. Now, anytime you got soot, black soot up at the top, that means it's resistance. And then we're burning clean the rest of the way down. So that means the resistance was overcome and we got a good clean burn. Now here's some other things. Now those are all good clean candles. It's rare you're going to get a candle that just burns down pristine clean. They're always going to have some indicators in there, just like you're rarely going to get a teacup that doesn't have a little bit of tea leaves in it. So these are a little more extreme. Now this is a money candle. This is money drawing, but this thing has a lot of wax residue around it. The person that burned this has some money issues that they're needing to work on, and they're needing to invest more time and energy into the actual hitting the pavement part of getting money drawn into them. And sometimes that's what the candles will tell you is, hey, we need you to do more on your end. We can work the magical end, but you gotta get out there and act in accord and do some things. And the way that we know this is, you can see there's just a lot of wax residue there. And then we've got the wax clinging to the side here. And again, this is all the same kind of wax, burning the same way. But what's interesting about it, look all the way down. That candle burned clean at the end. So whatever challenges that they were having, they did manage to work through it during the course of the 4 or 5 days it would take to burn this candle. But yeah, definitely we need to get out there and hit up some people that owe us money, talk to them, apply for different jobs, do things, physically do things to create more revenue, rather than just sit back and wait for the money to come. Now, sometimes a money candle will burn down and you'll have exactly that happen, where it's nice and clean and you know you're just going to get some unexpected money coming your way. Now, this one you got to actually do the work. Now this candle's a wreck. This was a fairy candle, and look at this, it still is a fairy candle down in there. The fairy candle is done to honor the fairies, and there's a little poem on the back that honors the fairies. And I just want to say that when this candle was burned, this person has some pissed off fairies. You can see inside there's a lot of wax residue. The candle only burned down to here, right about there. And then it's out. There's no wick in there anymore. The wick has gotten buried. So this candle was done. When your candles get to the point that you can't even get the wick out anymore, the candle's done. Let it go. Let it go. Either it's not doing what it needs to do because you need to rephrase your spell work, or try a different approach, or it did what it needed to do and it doesn't need any more of the energy. Sometimes it'll do that just to preserve the energy of the candle. But given how wrecked this candle is on the inside, what I'm going to say is that the fairies that this person is working with are not happy fairies. They're trying to make themselves known a little bit better than they are. So we want to put out some offerings to the fairies. Maybe change, it's going to sound really dorky to you, but go with it. Change the feng shui of the home or the area where the fairies are hanging out, so that it has a different approach. Something about the flow of energies with these fairies is working very well. We do have a product called the FF fairies, and that's a whole other candle altogether, for fairies that are acting out. These fairies aren't acting out. They're responding to the fact that this person's trying to communicate with them and give them good energy with the candle, and they're saying, hey, no, something's screwed up in here. I need you to fix this. So that's what's going on with fairy candle, and any candle that doesn't burn all the way down. Either it did what it needed to do and it's done, or it needs to be rephrased and you need to change your game up a little bit. Now this is a different kind of candle. This is a small jar candle, and it just kept going out. The person burned it and it got down to here and it just wouldn't burn anymore. There's a wick in there. Even in my shop, as I attempted to light it, it would light and go out. And this is a common kind of cotton wick and soy wax. So whatever this candle needed to do, it did it, and it was done, and it's not going to work anymore. If you were to cleanse this out, and oil it and bless it to another purpose, it might light again. Whatever it was for this purpose, it finished. Not so this one. Let's see, where's the rest of it? Yeah, the rest of this is in here. This one had a break. And sometimes that'll happen where candles, the glass encasement will break. And science tells us, yeah, that's from the heat of the candle. We have still a very well-centered wick in there, so it wasn't a matter of the wick being off to the side. I've used this type of jar for candles many times. It burns quite well. But in this case, we had a burst of energy toward the end that caused the crack. And that's what I always see this as when we have a candle that breaks but continues to burn. We just had a rush of energy, and if you look at the timelines on the magic, these candles will burn about 3 days, this particular type. And it's very possible that at the point that the crack happened, that something significant occurred in regard to the magic manifesting on the outside, that you were able to see a change, and that caused the thing to break. Anytime your candle breaks, if it can continue to burn safely, it's okay to continue burning it. You don't have to panic because there was a crack or a break, but you do want to be fire safe. So make sure when you're having a break, or you hear a pop or a break and you go in and you see it, that if it's burning safely, you're okay. And what you might want to do is relocate the candle to a porcelain sink or inside a wood stove or someplace, fireplace, where it's going to burn a little safer than it would, say, on your altar. But you should be okay to continue burning it if it's not a catastrophic break. This is not a catastrophic break. It's above the wax line. The candle can burn just fine, and did. You can see it burned all the way down. So we would say, hey, this candle just got a little bit froggy, put out a lot of energy, and got excited. Now, not so this guy. Check this out. This is a healing candle. And this candle, I think there's some other pieces in here. This candle kind of had what I would call a catastrophic break. And I probably would not continue with the burn of this candle. Now, the picture that we use for candle is, for healing, is Jesus in the middle. We've got Santa Muerte on each side, so that we are appealing to death, not to take this person, and to Jesus instead to heal them and keep them safe. And you can see this thing just burnt the crap out of Jesus, and Santa Muerte is still doing okay. And if I were reading this candle read, I would say that there's something about the extreme illness that this person had, that this candle was burnt for, that they needed to go through that illness. Either it's their time to pass, or they need the rest, or something is going to be discovered in the context of healing this illness that prevents another illness. For whatever reason, they need to not be healed right now. So if you have a huge explosion of a break, that's when you blow it out and stop what you're doing, because something needs to be revamped. Either your approach needs to change, or it's not timely to do the magic at this time. But yeah, you can see there's breaks even all the way down this sucker. This sucker just exploded. The last one I'm going to show you is a Spellbreaker candle here. And Spellbreaker candles and uncrossing candles and unjinxing candles and doom, death unto my enemies candles, they're sticky to work. You got to be really careful with what you're doing. Now, with a Spellbreaker candle, you're usually okay, because what you're actually doing is undoing a spell that was coming to you. So that's going to depend on the strength of the person that was sending you the bad energy, and it might not even be a bad spell. It might just be a spell that you don't want somebody else putting their magical attention onto you, and so you want to break the spell. And when we talk about black soot, check that out. All the way down to there. Right there, we have a very sudden breakthrough on the resistance, and everything's clear. So eventually, this got okay. But boy, were they hitting some resistance on breaking this spell. And I want to show you something in particular on this picture of the Spellbreaker candle. Look what happened here. This one area, which is right where she's focusing her energy, burned out on the picture. And anytime you have a burnout on the label, you want to pay attention to where on the label it burns out. And interestingly enough, if we turn it around, so that's where the burnout happened. Turn around, turn around, turn around, turn around. That is where we suddenly got clear, and that's where we lost the resistance to breaking the spell. So what I would say if I was reading this without knowing what happened, which I don't, the person didn't share with me, is that, man, somebody was working hard against them. The spell breaker candle started trying to encounter that energy and take it out. They got almost all the way down the candle, and suddenly there was a burst of energy right here that blew it back. And now I would call the spell broken. I would say that this person is now in the clear. However, with that much resistance and that little clear, I'd probably burn another one after, just to make absolutely sure that all of that attachment, magical attachment someone has assigned to that person has been pulled away, or that it hasn't been rejuvenated, because obviously someone was very interested in keeping that person magically attached. So those are a few of the classic burns and what they mean. If you have any questions, feel free to contact me, Katrina at gringabruja.com, or to comment. I always reply to my comments below, unless you just get really nasty, and then I probably just won't. So anyway, I hope you enjoyed the class, and I look forward to hearing from you.